Here's perhaps a less bitter expression of the same feeling. It's called The Joke. There was a ball went round and round, with clouds and mist and dew on it. The yellow sunlight warmed the ground, and plants and people grew on it. The plants grew up, the fruit fell down. There was no other way for it. And people starved in every town because they could not pay for it. The common people could not pay. It makes me laugh to think on it. Unless they laboured every day for paper with some ink on it. The sun's bright power which set them free, the more they did employ of it, the less employment there could be, the less they could enjoy of it. That ball still rolls upon its way. They don't know what to do with it. It will get richer every day. The joke gets richer too with it. Well, the joke's still here, you know. For all their talk about population explosion and so on, our powers of production have increased enormously since then. The world is an incredibly rich place. It's only we that make it poor. Here's another version of called Biography of an Englishman. John Montgomery Ronald Gray worked on a ledger all the day, entering figures with his pen, and his weekly value was £2.10. John Montgomery couldn't afford anything much but his bed and board, a weekly flick, an occasional show, a pint or two, and a kiss or so. But he showed no signs of discontent as the years went by and his youth was spent, with never a chance of child or wife, for earning his living was his life. Alas, the upstart firm next door ruined the game for evermore by investing in one of those machines which enable a typist in her teens to make more entries in a day than 40 clerks the good old way. Then up spake Ronald's honest boss. Although we're running at a loss and we can't compete with these low-down cads, I'll play the game by you, my lads. I'll do my duty as I must and keep you in work until we bust. And so, according to expectation, the firm went into liquidation. And Ronald found such small enjoyment in the state of life called unemployment, that seeing he couldn't be a worker and wouldn't live as an idle shirker, he turned on gas and duly died. And of course the verdict was suicide. The parson talked as parsons must, of ashes to ashes, and dust to dust. But what they buried beneath the clay under a stone marked Ronald Gray was really, could they but have seen, 1/40th of a ledger machine. Here's one called Very Sound Song. Man was made for labour. Man was made for work. You must keep him at it, or he's sure to shirk. He yells for bread and butter. He bawls for house and clothes. But what he's really wanting is a grindstone for his nose. No cash to squander, and no time to sin. That's the way to keep him straight and do the devil in. The devil, he's a sly bird. He sends the rain and sun to make the crops grow thick and fast and stop work being done. The devil made the coal and the devil made the oil and all that damn machinery to rob us of our toil. The devil made those scientists to give us plenty, but God made the government to fight against the glut. God sends the hailstorms and God sends the drought and make us all work harder and keep the devil out. God sends the pestilence and God sends the blight, and God sends the bankers to keep our money tight. We're nearly round the corner, prosperity's in sight, so do your bit to help us win the economic fight. And if we do our duty and answer to the call, perhaps God will send another war, but there'll be work for all. That's still the attitude, you know. And here's one called Prosperity Christmas. Here are some newspaper cuttings which stimulated this. You are more prosperous than you have been for a long time, and you have every right to feel pleased with the figures issued by the Board of Trade. I am aware that the rise in food prices is causing concern. In general, I would remind him that the rise in food prices reflects the recovery from the conditions of the period of depression. President of the Board of Trade replying to an MP in Parliament. With the stimulus of the rearmament programme still strongly at work, Britain can face the economic future with confidence. The great crowds buying Christmas presents this week are an earnest of our well-distributed prosperity. Evening Standard leading article, December 9th, 1937. Christmas Day is here again, there's need for some good cheer again, so fill your glass with beer again and shout hooray, hooray. They said a year or two ago the prices all are much too low, that's why you have to suffer so, but now they say hooray. Prosperity is here again, the cost of living's dear again, so let us cheer and cheer again, hooray, hooray, hooray. And even though you can't afford to keep the birth feast of the Lord, you still can shout with one accord, hooray, hooray, hooray. For some of us shall dine right well, because we made a bomb or shell to feed the fires of our next hell. Hooray, hooray, hooray. Praise banks from whom all credits flow to us poor creatures here below, provided that to war we go. Hooray. Hooray, hooray.
Oh yes, we knew where we were going, which is more than this generation does.
Here's another on the same theme, called The Unknown Warriors, 1936 again. Blood that was shed and bones that rot. Remember these, but remember not blood that is thinning and bones that stare from the skins of the living everywhere. Press and pulpit, blubber and rave of an unknown man in a well-known grave, the unknown warrior, unknown sheep whom they drove to the slaughter, and now they weep while his corpse they garnish and use as bait to lure the living to meet his fate. Is one more war the sole release from this they call by the name of peace? This strangling horror which keeps from birth the life and abundance of the earth? There's no parade, no pomp and pride for an unknown debtor and suicide. No abbey tomb for the unknown dead who died because they were underfed. No beat of the drum nor sound of horn for the unknown ones who were never born.